The Olympics is associated with certain qualities, excellence, achievement. They have no desire to associate with defeat.
When this film was starting, apparently the character said that 90% of this film wasn't going to be based on true events at all, and 10% is, or so, right?
Well, I don't know. This script's been around for a long time. I mean, he saw it. I read his book. I don't know what percentage is, but a good 70% of it's real. But it's not all. I mean, look. It's inspired by his life. It's not a biopic, and my character's completely fictional. There was no coach. I think he picked up a few tips here and there. I feel mainly bad for his dad, who we paint as pretty much a pretty bad guy for most of it. But I think his dad was like a great supportive dad. But you know, we're making a movie and telling the story. And I think most importantly, we've been true to that character. And he saw it. The real Eddie watched it with Taron, and he cried at the end. And I think good tears, not.
So you, Hugh Jackman, in real life, I heard that you used to jump off of your roof in Australia and pretend that you could ski jump?
No.
No? Not true?
Never did that. But we used to love, we used to jump into the pool pretending we were ski jumping, but not quite off the roof. But we used to do crazy things when I was young. Like, I remember jumping off the Warriewood blowhole a lot, which now has been closed off because a lot of people didn't make it. But that was about a 65-foot jump. That was pretty high, but not crazy enough to jump off a 90-meter ski jump.
And you've done a little bit of it all. Obviously people know you for Wolverine. Everyone knows you from Les Mis and from singing. Why Eddie the Eagle?
I love the story, and I didn't really know the story. I thought I knew it, but I presumed it was a little bit of a joke, to be honest. But actually, when you get into it, his dream was to be there, and he did everything in his power, and everyone tried to stop him, and nothing was going to stop him. And it's a really inspirational story, kind of with a theme that you don't have to win to be a winner in life, All
right, we are here with Taron Egerton, who stars as Eddie the Eagle in the new film here, co-starring with Hugh here.
Yeah, I mean, he's a brilliant guy. Brilliant actor, lovely person to work with. We just had real fun. We just spent 2 months kind of making each other laugh, really. It was great, really wonderful experience.
So it was over the course of 2 months, and you came from a Kingsman past, and you got to rematch with them, with the producers on this film.
Yes.
This is obviously a very different kind of film.
Yes.
But you got to use some of the same team. What was it like working with them again?
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, Matthew and I have, obviously done Kingsman, which he served as a producer on as well as a director, and now he produced Eddie, which Dexter directed. Working with Matthew's amazing. He's a brilliant filmmaker. He's got such a great instinct for what audiences want to see. And I think he knows great popcorn. He knows what makes an audience feel uplifted and excited, and when you combine that with Dexter, who is just the most wonderful director I've ever worked with, I think we've made something quite fun and unique.
And Matthew Vaughn wanted, with Guy Ritchie, he wanted to make this a long time ago. And, the story, this was 1998, and this is 2016, so it took a long time to make this story. Why now, and why with Dexter instead of Matthew?
I think Dexter's better suited to this as a director. I think Matthew's great. Matthew's brilliant at creating excitement and knows how to make something high octane and thrilling. But I think Dexter's brilliant at bringing a real heart to things and a real kind of humanity. And I think that's what was important for this.
We're here with Dexter Fletcher, who directed Eddie the Eagle.
That's me.
And how you've done a few acting.
I've done some acting in the past, that's right, yes.
And less of directing, so this is a bit
less directing, more acting, that's true. I was an actor when I was a child, so that's 45 years ago was one of my first acting jobs, so yeah, I have more experience than that than directing, but this is very exciting to be here.
And then, talk to me about your relationship with Matthew Vaughn and how you worked with him and how this story could have come to be a long time ago, but it's coming to be now with you.
Well, I was in a film called Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels that Guy Ritchie directed and Matthew Vaughn produced.
We've seen it. We've all
You
seen
may
it.
have seen it.
Everyone's
It's a good
seen
film.
it.
It's a good film. And latterly, when Matthew started directing, I was acting in his film Stardust, Layer Cake, Kick-Ass. I'm in those as well. Matthew's an old friend. And then I started to get into directing myself about 5 years ago. with lots of help and encouragement from Matthew, being the sort of, you know, big producer-director that he is in his own right. And I started small, and we always talked about working together and finding the right project. 20 years ago we talked about it. And he's always been a very supportive friend. But I know him, and knowing him well, he wouldn't want me to direct this film just because I'm his friend. That's not enough of a qualification. So I took it as a huge compliment that he asked me to direct it, because he obviously enjoyed my films and saw merit in those. And then he came to me with the script of Eddie and talked to me about Taron and what, you know, what he felt the possibilities there were. I at first was like, well, Taron's way too good looking to play Eddie. We're talking about a real life person, and he's not the movie star looks that Taron has. So then I started working with Taron and talking about a lot more, and got him in some big bottle top glasses. And it really is about the heart of the man, you know, the man who endeavours to do something that everybody tells him he cannot do. And having the warmth and strength and commitment to make that convincing. And Taron has that bucket load. So that's really what became very important and key to me, that I had a central character that was so adorable and lovable.
And about a week ago, we did a premiere here for Race, for the Jesse Owens film. And different kind of Olympian here, you know.
Absolutely.
This is an Olympian here who kind of shows you that you can go out and do almost anything you want. He wasn't initially a great athlete.
No.
He didn't have the money.
No.
He didn't have good eyesight. He didn't even have great equipment. And you know, it's kind of, and he didn't even place that well.
Well, he placed last.
Right.
I mean, you don't get any further back than that.
But he became a media darling, and you know, people fell in love with him. So part of it's talent, part of it is you know, flair.
Is a moment, exactly. Having your moment, and we talk about that in the film, you know, and Hugh's character says to him, I'll get you your moment. But really what Eddie was looking for is not a moment in the spotlight, but a moment to be an Olympian, to be counted amongst the elite of the sport at that moment. And he never says, I'm going to win gold. He sets out very early on in the film as a child, and we see him, he just says, his mum says, when's it going to end? And he says, when I become an Olympian.
He wants to be there.
He wants to be there. He wants to be part of it. And he, you know, like many of us, I think maybe sometimes feel in our life, he feels marginalised or kind of on the periphery of what seems to be the cool set or the, you know, the elite. And so he works his hard to get to be there and makes huge sacrifices along the way, you know, emotionally and physically, and in his relationships with his parents. You know, we see all those things that he gave up and really were a big part of his journey. And I think why people relate to it, hopefully, is that we all feel somewhere along the line, you know, there's something that we want that maybe we don't let ourselves believe that we can do, or other people don't let us believe we can do it. But Eddie doesn't give up, and I think that's what's so strong about his character, that I think is what people respond to very well in the film.
You want your moment, Eddie? You gotta do this for real. Our strategy will best be described as ugly but effective.